Welcome to Totally Witchin' with me, your host, Asha Lightbearer, where we take you beyond the physical and into the unseen to tap into the magic of the universe every day and every way. Hey witches, this is Asha, and I'm here today to bring you a channel that I received just this week on Friday, and I'm going to give you the date. It was Friday, January 31 of 2020, and the reason why I think that's important for this particular exercise is that I received this specific channel, which is talking about the path to victory in spite of great divides in beliefs, opinions, personalities, etc. And on that specific day, there was so much going on politically in the world with Brexit in the UK and also the Trump Senate trial for impeachment in the United States. And earlier in the week, there was a new peace plan that was unveiled for Palestine and Israel from the Trump administration here in the US. And some people think it's great, and some people think it's an atrocity. So that seems to be the theme of the world right now, politically and otherwise. So I found this quite pertinent. Again, this was received Friday morning when I woke up, and then there was a bunch of news announced later on in that day. So basically, I woke up with this exercise in my head, a vision, and I was seeing specific things and understanding that what I was being elicited for were my values. And these words were falling out onto the page. And of course, I grabbed my handy dandy notebook that I keep by my bed just for these occasions. And I began jotting down everything I could to make sure that I could capture it and wouldn't lose it. And as it unfolded, I watched what I thought was going to be a great exercise in values identification or something like that. I wasn't really sure, but whenever I get information, I write it down and I think about it later so that I don't contaminate what I'm receiving. But as this unfolded, I watched what were great characteristics or values or ideals turn into these thoughts and fragments that were inserted that were not very idealistic or high value at all, and they would be just kind of dispersed, one here, one there, and then more, and then more, and then more confusion. And by the end, it just was kind of a mess. So what started out great ended up being pretty messy and not real helpful at all. So I asked, why did you show me this? How is this of value? What is the point of this exercise? And this is what I received. The holy becomes splintered into factions that are unrecognizable. Their value gets contaminated with drivel, so they can't easily be seen as truth versus fiction. Well, that pretty much sums up not only the exercise, but it sums up what's happening in people's minds and in the collective conscience and in psyche right now as well. And what's set forth as great ideals and a prescription for life ends up being manipulated, or maybe manipulated is the wrong word. Maybe it's like a game of telephone. Things just get tweaked out, maybe not intentionally, but you end up basically playing two different ball games and being upset because people are playing by different rules and they're understanding different things as being meaningful and valuable. And it's causing real problems. So I wanted to write a little further and do a wisdom dialogue. What I wanted to achieve was to learn a little bit more about the exercise and if it had any value, what that was. So I began to journal, and what you're going to hear in a moment is a journal where I started writing and it very quickly became something else. What's interesting in what you're about to hear is that the entity, or if you don't like that word, entity does not mean dark, by the way, the entity or being that I was channeling could understand what's happening now and my perspective and knows my thoughts and what I'm capable of understanding and portrays things in a way that is understandable to me and hopefully understandable to you. So I find it quite interesting. But by the third line, when he says, I would posit, it was pretty clear that that's not my language. So let's take a listen to what was said, and then I'll tell you who sent it. The exercise started as values. then a path to spirituality, or perhaps a model that represents holistic spirituality and practice. But is spirituality really the desired outcome? Or is it just a tool to the desired outcome? I would posit that spirituality is a tool. The desired outcome is a sense of wholeness or greater being within oneself and in connection to everything, known and unknown. Clearly, right now, some of us would prefer not to be in connection to some of what we see in the world. We don't want any part of it and don't want to associate with it. We hold ourselves separate from it and go so far as to say that we will not be part of this mutiny of values. Instead, we seek a solution, a chance to overthrow the rebels who are not like us and don't share our own philosophies and views, virtuous or otherwise. It's always us against them, each one trying to do damage control. But in the real world, we can no more separate ourselves from them than we can build a bridge single-handedly across the River Thames. We must work together to create lasting change. We must seek global unification and community, but that is never going to happen within our current understanding of the structure, which is men and God, neither of which exist alone in the world, solely and explicitly because, if nothing else, each affects the other. Power over will never win. The only path to peace and prosperity is through personal change and trying to do our part, our best, without making the other wrong. As long as we must make each other wrong, no lasting change will ever take effect and endure. Look at the political climate right now. One side makes changes, the other undoes them as soon as they have the power to do so, both believing they are more right and their way is the right way. Neither side is trying to destroy the country or the world. They just can't see the world through any lens but their own. I personally believe that the only way to peace is through a grand effort to be accountable, work together in grassroots movements, and woo the others into liking what you have to offer. It's like making a sale rather than winning a debate. You do not go out to sell a product or service and beat your potential customer about the head. Rather, you show them their problem, or better yet, let them tell you their problem in excruciating detail. Then you suggest that if there was a solution, how would it change their lives? What would it look like? What would it feel like? Then you work with them to provide a solution to help them achieve the desired state, whether or not your product or offering actually addresses their original perceived issues. The problem they believe or perceive often isn't really the problem at all. It's just the only path they can imagine to the state they want to achieve. But the only way to find solutions to complicated problems, or rather, elevated solutions, is by working together. If it was easy, it would already be done. So brace yourselves for a turbulent year of growth and learning, because that is the path to victory, and we are all on this road together, whether you want to believe it or not. Every action affects everything else it touches or comes in contact with, physically, politically, demonstrably in every level of personal and communal structure. We are all either part of the solution or part of the problem. Are you brave enough to be part of the solution? Because it is going to require humility, humbleness, kindness, and love, especially when it's hard or maybe even feels impossible. Lucius Aurelius Verus Augustus. So that's it for today's channel. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to go to our website and let us know what you think. Was it pertinent? Is it not pertinent? Do you think it's a hunk of junk? Give us your feedback. That's it for today. Until next time, peace out, witches.